I'm Sebastian St. James. There are ancient money-saving tips that still work today. I have discovered authentic footage that was lost to humanity that I've personally recovered, and that I will reveal to you today. There has been a scandal in the Australian finance community. Woo! This is Kuan, who is an Australian finance YouTuber. But something scandalous has happened to him. Here, take a look.
I know you told your friend you're not okay.
This is his channel, but all his videos are gone.
You felt that way. Guess you're trying to stay strong and fake a smile.
But his channel has not been deleted. There's a subscribe button still there.
Yes! How long it hurts to watch your blue eyes fade.
And his banner has been changed to offline, but YouTube didn't do this. Woo! If YouTube is going to delete your channel because of some violation, it deletes it outright. It doesn't just change your channel banner. Yes! And here's the problem. Over a year ago, I did a collab with Kuan, so there's footage of me that was on his channel that's now being lost. It's gone. Lost to humanity. Woo! This is where the video of my footage should be on his channel. But as you can see, it's still there. It's just been set to private. I spent days trying to recover that footage, but now, finally, I have it. This will be the big reveal. The first time ever this footage has been seen publicly on my channel. But the question is, why did Kuan set all of his videos to private in the first place? Some people have suggested that he got into trouble with ASIC for doing paid promotions of financial products, such as Moomoo and Weeble. Scandal. Is this true? Did ASIC send in a SWAT team? I have no idea. I'm not going to speculate one way or the other. I have seen paid sponsorships in his videos where he promoted financial products, and now all his videos are set to private. That is all I can say. It's time. Time to reveal to you the lost footage, which I've edited especially for this video. Oh, I just got a thanks from David. Thank you very much, David. What a lovely person you are. I find the best way to save money is to start with a clear head and to be nice and relaxed. The most relaxed way of investing is to place your money in a broad-based index fund. And if you've got the right app, you can even do this while lying in bed. The problem is, some ETFs charge you super high fees to essentially get the same ETF as you can across the road for half the cost. This is QOZ. This is BetaShares Australian 200 ETF. Its fund objective is to track the 200 largest companies listed on the ASX. Its management fee is a whopping 0.4%. Is 0.4% high? Yes, I just said whopping, so it suggests it is, but we'll have to wait and see. This is State Street's STW. It holds the 200 largest stocks in Australia. That sounds rather familiar to me. Its management fee is 0.13%. Okay, well, that's a bit better. BetaShares versus State Street, 0.4 versus 0.13. So what's the difference? I think the Q's and the Z's are very expensive and rare letters, just like in Scrabble, and therefore they charge a higher fee than an S, a T, and a W. Here's BlackRock's IOZ. It has low-cost access to the 200 largest companies on the ASX, which is sounding rather familiar. Its management fee is 0.09%. Aha! So 0.4 right down to 0.09. Notice the decimal place has moved over one. Here is the A200. It is a BetaShares fund. It has exposure to the top 200 companies listed on the ASX. Of course. Its fee is 0.07% per annum. So here is the list. These are the 4 ETFs you can buy on the ASX right now, which actually is the ASX 200. All 200 stocks, all cap-weighted, all different fees. At the extremes, we have QOZ with its fee of 0.4 versus the A200 with its cheaper fee of 0.07. The question is QOZ actually 5.7 times better than the A200? Because that's how much higher you're paying in fees. I can tell you already, no, it's not. But the question is, are they actually holding exactly the same stocks? Sure, the 200 largest stocks in Australia, but by whose definition? And also, do they move them around and say, I don't want these, I do want these. I'll place artificial constraints along the way? Well, absolutely they do. The holdings of QOZ are BHP, Commonwealth Bank, Westpac, National Bank. Memorise those stocks. I'll be testing you in a moment. STW has BHP, Commonwealth Bank, CSL, I think that one's new, National Bank, Westpac. So very similar with some minor tweaks. IOZ has BHP, CBA, CSL, NAB, Westpac. Yeah, that's sounding very familiar. A200 has BHP, Commonwealth Bank, CSL, NAB, Westpac. I seem to be repeating myself, but these are the index funds which you can buy the ASX 200 on. But why are they different? Well, because they have different indexes upon which they're based. Is it not the 200 largest stocks? Well, yes, it is, but it's kind of proprietary. The S&P, Standard & Poor's 200 versus the RAFI versus... Each one tends to have their own index, and therefore they can differentiate themselves and say, I'm special. I have a secret sauce. Yeah, how secret? What are you holding? The 200 largest stocks in Australia? Yes, that's not so secret. I can tell you what they are right now. Oh, I just got a thanks from Bunno Bear. Please, sir, can I have some more info on super? Thank you very much, Bunno.
More? You want more?
That you will have in a video coming up very soon. I've gone to my brokerage and found out exactly the largest 200 stocks on the ASX right now. When I'm recording this video, this is live. The first one is BHP, CBA, CSL, NAB. Right down the list, the bottom one is Wesfarmers. This is the holy grail. I presented to you the actual market cap weighting in order of the largest stocks on the ASX right now. So in theory, you could just go ahead and buy all of those and you'd be market cap weighted if you bought it by the percentages. And I've got the numbers written right there. The question is, does our ETFs that we've listed actually follow this order of the true market cap ranking of the ASX? Well, let's take a look. On the ASX is the actual cap weighting, the true order of stocks on the ASX. The first one is BHP, that is the largest. Right across the board, yes, they have that as the number one ranking. Number two is CBA, CBA across the board. So far, no different. But wait, there's more. At number three, the actual third place is CSL. QOZ does Westpac. What? Westpac is like number 5 on the list, but whoa, you're just going to arbitrarily promote it to number 3? Why? That's what I ask you. The others have CSL across the board. And QOZ, where is CSL? Is it even on the list? No, it's not even in the top 10. At number 4, we have NAB across the board, which is curious. QOZ agrees on spot number 2 and number 4. Number 3, no, we'll just make it up. Spot number 5, we have Westpac Bank. All the other ETFs agree with that except for, of course, QOZ, who's arbitrarily chosen ANZ. Why? Well, they've promoted it from the line below, you see. Down to Macquarie Bank, which the other ETFs have. QOZ, no. Woolworths, as in grocery supermarket, yes. It's decided that should go instead of Macquarie Bank. I ask you, WTZ, Woodside Petroleum Energy, they all agree except, of course, for QOZ. Keep in mind that QOZ is the most expensive ETF that we looked at. That's a 0.4% one. Do we actually want to follow the large cap ranking, the reality of the largest stocks on the Australian market? Yes, that's what we're trying to invest in. The 200 largest stocks on the ASX right now. I've given you the list. Does QOZ provide that? No, it doesn't. But is it somewhat arbitrary? Yes. Does that sound like stock picking? Well, I'm sure they've got their own formula. I'm sure it's mechanical, but it's nowhere near what the actual true ranking is. In conclusion, we could say none of the ASX 200 ETFs hold the stocks in the right order according to the market cap. So I've laid out for you exactly what stocks these ETFs hold, and you've seen how close or far they are from the true actual index of cap weighting. Now let's have a look at the fees again. And there they are. Answer the question for yourself. Is it worth paying extra for high-priced ETFs? You only get what you pay for, right? No, you're paying high prices, but really they're not following the true market cap weighting that close, and sometimes the more expensive, the worse. So what would I do personally? Well, I look at the ETFs which are cheap because I don't want to overpay for them, but also the ETFs which are following the true actual market cap as closely as possible and make my choice from that. This is Jade. Hi, Jade. Jade has taken 2 years off work to look after her new baby. Jade's income in the financial year 2020-21 was $62,000. In the next year, it was $64,000. In this year, it's going to be zero because she's at home with a baby. And next year, it'll be zero as well. It's my latest channel member, Tony Moran. Tony Moran is an American actor known for briefly playing the unmasked Michael Myers in the 1978 classic Halloween. You don't believe in boogeymen? I'll be locking my doors tonight. Jade watches my finance channel religiously, so she's actually acquired quite a bit of money. Jade's portfolio is $500,000 in stock, and in unrealized profit, there's $150,000. So what's unrealized profit? Well, she bought in at a certain amount, and now it's higher, and the capital gains, if she was to sell right now, would be $150,000. Traditional advice is to buy an index fund and hold for the long term. But you know what? We can power up Jade and take her to the next level. Here is actual tax rates in Australia right now. You'll notice $0 to $18,200 is nil. That's how much tax you pay. Absolutely nothing. Aha! So here is my tip. If you've got a tax-free threshold that you're not using and you have some unrealized profits, consider realizing the profit and use up that threshold. So in 2022, Jade is going to sell down some stocks and crystallize $18,200 worth of profit. Jade has sold down some of her shares, which are now tax-free. And what does she do with the cash? Well, she takes that, she can buy into shares again and keep them for the long term. Just because you hop out of the market temporarily and make a taxable capital gains event doesn't mean you can't go straight ahead and buy more shares. By the way, Jade, if you wake up your baby just before you're ready to go to bed and give it a feed, then it'll actually sleep longer during the night. Try that. This is Cory. Cory works in IT. Hi, Cory. Cory earns $181,000 a year. Cory reads the Australian online financial forums every day on his way to work. I can see the problem already. In 2020, Cory had all his money in QOZ. He read on the forums that STW was a better ETF, so he sold out, and he realised a capital gains of $39,000. The next year, IOZ became the hottest, most exciting ETF that was spoken about on the financial forums, so he sold up STW and moved over to IOZ, realising a capital gain of $42,000. The problem is, Cory earns $181,000. Australia works on a progressive tax system. That means you pay more progressively as you go up the tax ladder. The problem is, Cory's already at the very top, and any dollar he earns from here on in, where he realises capital gains when he sells his shares, he will pay the top rate of 45% on every dollar. So popping from ETF and crystallising any profits at that point, when you're paying so much in tax anyway, is a disaster. So, what is my tip? What should Cory do? Well, Cory better pick an ETF and stick with it, and he can draw down later once he retires. What do you mean, once he retires? Well, now, Cory earns $181,000. When he retires, he will earn zero. If we look at the tax chart, we will find out that there's actually $18,200 of tax-free threshold which you can use up. If he draws down a little bit more on his shares, then he'll be taxed at 19 cents for the next level rather than 45 cents, which is taxed right now. By the way, Cory, I think you should study up on Python and move away from C++ because there'll be a lot more AI jobs in the future. This is Kate. Kate owns a 2022 Toyota Camry. Kate always is careful to make sure she maxes out her insurance, and the agreed value her insurer will give her is $35,200. So I've gone ahead and done a quote for Kate. This is right now real figures on the Allianz website, or Alliance if you actually live outside of Australia. Is $1,486 the best that Kate can do? Well, no. Let's have a look at her excess. Kate, who's always careful, has chosen an excess of $200. That means if anything goes wrong, she only has to pay $200. But if you slide that all the way to the right to the $2,000 mark, then your quote becomes, $771.67. So, excess of $200, $1,400 premium. Excess of $2,000, half your premium. Oh, I just got to thank some David via PayID. Many thanks for sharing your expertise. Thank you very much, David. That was a lovely surprise. And we've discovered a secret about PayID. PayID has a reference section, a comment that you can add. And so you can pop your YouTube name right in there, which means that you no longer have to send a separate email. I know, it's amazing. I will know exactly who the payment is coming from because you've left your name in the actual payment. And thank you very much, Steve. And because of their thanks, David and Steve's questions will now be pushed further up the queue. Way to go. So, when I raise my insurance, how come it goes down to half? Well, the idea is that you're shouldering some of the risks yourself. It's like going to the doctor and having a copay. And therefore, if you are at risk, if your own money can actually be used, $2,000 worth, presumably you're going to be a lot more careful, and therefore your risk is probably going to be far, far lower. That's how the insurance companies think. What you need to understand about insurance versus excess is this. If I go out now and have an accident, do I know how much it would actually cost me? No. Well, I could be some 8-year-old little mini minor, or it could be a massive, great big Porsche. But I don't know. It's totally unknown. But the excess isn't. It's $2,000. We know exactly what it is. It's a predictable risk. And therefore, you leave the unpredictable risk up to the insurance company. The predictable risk, which is the excess, you can take on for yourself. So I've got my $2,000 in the bank, ready to pay my excess. When do I have to pay this? Like every time I make a claim? No. So you only pay the excess when you're at fault. So if the other driver is at fault, you don't have to pay it. Or if you collide with an animal. A few years ago, we were driving along a country road on a day trip. A kangaroo came from the side, hit our car. Was it my fault? No, I wasn't the one who was driving. But was it the driver's fault? No, because the kangaroo came out of nowhere. But the kangaroo is not insured, it does not have a car, it does not have a license, and therefore we can't pin it on the kangaroo. So as far as the insurance company is concerned, yes, that is our fault. And therefore we have to pay the excess. And I'll bill the kangaroo later. By the way, the kangaroo hopped away. Thanks, kangaroo. Oh, by the way, Kate, the 2023 Camry is looking really good if you want to upgrade. And my final tip, I can reduce Kate's premium even further. And here is my latest channel member, Carl, who apparently knows how to make a grand entrance. Now, this video doesn't have a storyline that I can fit Carl and Tony into, so they will appear in my next video. When I have a look at her premiums, I've noticed that she's ticked, extras. Add no excess on windscreen damage only claims, ticked. Add a rental car after any covered incident. Most insurance companies will offer you windscreens as an extra. But if I have an accident, I want my windscreen fixed, don't I? Yes. This is a windscreen only claim. So, if your car actually gets into a collision and there's body panel damage, they will fix your windscreen for free. You don't have to tick that box. If though, somebody throws up a stone and it hits your windscreen and it cracks, there's no other damage, that's a windscreen only claim, and that's the one you're covering. But how much does it cost you to cover a windscreen? To get it fixed yourself, I don't know, but it's a fixed cost. It's not infinite. It's not like I'm hitting a Porsche and replacing its windscreen. So that's a cost I can potentially cover myself. Ticking the rental car option actually means that if your car is being serviced, then you'll actually get a rental car in the meantime. Is it some brand new exciting one? Well, no, it only has to be similar to your actual cars. So if your car is 8 years old, don't expect some amazing rental car. But do you really actually need these extras? Let's look at my real insurance history. This is Sebastian St. James' actual real insurance history. The entire time I've been driving a car, how many broken windscreens have I had where there's been no collision involved other than the windscreen? 0. That's how many times. How many rental cars during repairs? None. We are a 2-car family, and so if we have a car in repair, we just use the other car. If we choose to untick these optional extras and cover it for ourselves, how much does that change the premium? We go ahead and untick it and the quote goes down, to $618.10. So we started at $1,487 and now we're down to $618, which is less than half. It's around about the 40% mark. Thank you, past Sebastian, for those excellent tips, and I'm glad I recovered the footage. I have more people to thank, but I'll do that in my next video. But there is one more person. Oh, I just got some thanks from Elmo. Thank you very much, Elmo. I always love getting thanks from Elmo. Now, Elmo has a question. Is it a good idea to borrow to invest in shares? That will be a video that a lot of people will want to see, and that will be coming up soon, in a few videos' time. Elmo has discovered my secret past. I have been exposed. Well, I guess you all want to know what it is now. Click here to find out, or if you've seen that, click here.